SCP-517 is called Grammy Knows, and this one's by Dr. Bob, guys. Make sure to subscribe to Dr. Bob. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos, and let's get into this one.
Dance failed. The young woman laughs as her date tries to catch his breath.
An arcade.
The dancing rhythm game was much harder than he anticipated.
Oh, gosh.
He can't help but also laugh at his abysmal
You ever play
score.
one of them games?
He takes her hand, and the two continue walking through the arcade. It's not crowded at all tonight, and the two have their choice of games as they bounce between the many pinball tables, driving games, and light gun shooters.
All right.
As they finish up a game of air hockey, her date notices something. It's a door in the back of the arcade that's slightly ajar, the latch and a lock that should be keeping it closed hanging open.
Sure.
I wonder what's in there, he asks. Broken games? Maybe ones that let you play without putting in a token?
No.
Or keep spitting out tickets even when you lose?
Don't go in the employee-only areas of the store.
The two slip through the cracked door and find themselves in a dark room that doesn't look like anyone has been inside in a while. There's cobwebs and dust everywhere, but her date was right. It really is filled with broken games.
I see.
He motions for her to follow as he checks out an old pinball machine. He presses the buttons, but it remains dark.
Sure.
He gives it a hard slap and nothing happens.
Yeah,
How
it's
disappointing.
unplugged.
They really are just busted old machines.
Yes.
The two turn to leave. They might get kicked out if anyone finds them messing around.
Oh, what's that all about?
They're back at the door when they both stop and look at each other. Did they hear something behind them? The young woman shrieks with fear at the sight of the old woman staring at her.
It's like a fortune teller
This time,
thing?
it's her date's turn to laugh at her. It's just an old fortune teller. Nothing
Wow.
to be scared of. They must have accidentally
very,
turned it
very
on.
creepy looking, man.
She didn't notice it before, but the machine which has the words Grandmother Predictions written across the top has come to
that's what
life,
it's all
and
about.
the inside is now lit up to reveal the animatronic head and torso of an old woman.
But is it animatronic?
The old woman isn't moving, but her glassy, dead eyes seem like they are staring right at the young woman.
Wow, man, that is
The
creepy.
two look at each other, unsure of what to do, when, without warning, the old woman comes to life. With the clicking and whirring of gears, the old woman appears to breathe in deeply, opening and closing her mouth as she leans slightly forward and back inside her glass container. The young woman steps towards the fortune teller as the old woman inside keeps breathing in and out. But then suddenly, the old woman stops. There's another loud click as a card appears out of a small slot in front of the machine.
Predictions.
She looks down at the card, then looks back up to see that the old woman is staring at her once again. As if the robotic figure can really, truly see her. The young woman slowly reaches towards the card as the old woman's gaze stays locked on her. Her fingers touch the card, and at the exact moment she pulls it free, the fortune teller's lights go out, and the old woman slumps over. What was that? Her date asks. She didn't even notice that he is standing next to her now. He starts to search around the machine looking for something that may have triggered it, as the young woman looks down at the card she pulled from the slot.
What's the card say?
Her face changes as she reads it, as she goes from a little freaked out to completely terrified. Hey, look at this, her date says as she quickly slips the card into her pocket. Her date reaches behind the back of the machine and pulls out a short piece of cord, one end attached to the fortune teller, the other frayed as if it had been cut.
It's
not even plugged in. Let's get out of here, she tells him.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to ask him twice, and the two leave the
You
room,
creeped out,
emerging back into the lights and sounds of the arcade.
Should have stayed
Later
away
that
from
night,
the stuff with the
two are at
padlock.
the door to the young woman's apartment. He asks if she's sure she's okay.
Yeah.
She's not still scared about that broken machine, is she? It's probably just battery operated and they switched it on somehow.
Right.
The young woman agrees that must be it, and that she's fine, just tired.
What's the
She
card
gives him a
say?
kiss on the cheek and bids him goodnight before going into her apartment
Never gonna
and
see
closing
him
the door.
again, y'all. I have a
Inside,
feeling.
the young woman leans against the door. She takes something out of her pocket and stares at it. It's the fortune that was dispensed from the
What's
machine.
it say, Dr.
It reads, "You look like you've made some mistakes. Some things are unforgivable, aren't they?" No way, she thinks to herself.
What happened?
It's just a coincidence. The young woman walks further into her apartment and picks up a framed photo. It's a picture of her several years younger, with another girl who looks just like her.
Okay.
Her sister. She thinks back to that night. The night that she'll never forget no matter how hard she tries. The night she lost her, and lost part of herself too.
Wow.
She sets
So
the
how
picture
does that
back
have
down
to
on the
do with-
table before looking at the fortune she's still holding in her other hand. She
does that
crumples
have
the
to do with
paper
a
in her
mistake?
fist and drops it in the trash before heading to bed. It's late at night, and the young woman is tossing and turning with bad dreams when she suddenly pops up awake. Did she hear a sound? She looks around her dim room, but nothing looks amiss.
What's going
There
on,
it is
yo?
again, though. A noise. Is it coming from the closet?
Yeah, it's in the closet.
She gets up out of bed
Is
and
it the
walks
fortune
towards
teller
the
in there?
closet, one slow step after another. She reaches towards the closet door, but the moment her fingers
scare.
touch the knob, the door bursts open. She screams and falls backwards as multiple arms reach out of the darkness in the closet towards her. She screams and kicks at the arms as they grab at her, trying to pull her inside.
Run away, girl!
She fights with all her might as she tries to crawl away from the arms. She manages to escape their grasp and stands up. She runs out of the room and towards the front door as the arms follow, reaching out of the closet, growing longer and longer, the sickening sound of bones twisting and snapping as they form new joints to bend around corners.
Wow.
Her hands reach out for the knob and she grabs it, just as the arms grab onto her.
Wow.
She's jerked backwards and falls to the floor as the arms drag her down the hallway.
Going
she
back
tries
to
resist,
Narnia.
her fingernails digging into the floorboards as the arms pull her back into the bedroom.
Into Narnia.
Hello? You awake? The woman knocks loudly on the front door. Come on, we have reservations. You have to get up. The woman knocks again, but still no response.
Not there.
She checks her watch and with a sigh, takes out a set of keys. She finds the one she's looking for and unlocks the door. Everyone is waiting for us, and I'm going to tell them we're late because of... The woman gasps as she opens the door. She can't believe what she's seeing.
What'd
The
she
apartment
see?
is a mess. It looks like a bomb went off. She looks around, but there's no sign of her daughter. Then she notices the bloody claw marks leading down the hallway towards the bedroom.
So you gonna follow?
She runs down the hall, stops in the doorway to the bedroom, and screams.
Oh!
If you've ever been to
It's
an
in
arcade,
pieces.
a midway, or a boardwalk, then you may have encountered a fortune-telling machine.
Right.
These small booths
I
containing
never
an
have, but
automaton
I've
are
seen
great
them.
fun as you receive a random card that purports to tell you your future or reveal a secret truth about yourself. There's nothing to it, obviously. It's just a random card you're getting after all.
Right.
But the SCP Foundation has a fortune-telling machine in its possession that's both very real and very dangerous.
Yeah. Looks very scary too.
SCP-517, as it is known to the Foundation, is a 2-meter-tall glass and wooden fortune-telling machine that contains a mechanical animatronic facsimile of an elderly woman wearing a white blouse and a blue shawl.
Right.
On
With
top of the
red
machine is a
eyes.
panel with the words Grandmother
Grandmother
Predictions
Predictions.
written on it. Once per hour, the machine will power on if an individual enters what could be considered the elderly woman's field of vision.
Okay.
She will turn to directly face the person, seeming to stare right at them, before dispensing a fortune card from a slot on the front of the machine, after which it will appear to shut down and cease to function.
All right.
It is unknown just how the machine becomes active, seeing as the only cord coming out of the back of the machine appears to have been severed.
All right.
The fortunes dispensed when the machine comes to life are less a prediction and more of a veiled threat, and examples of ones received have included, "Your mother raised you better than that. I'm sorry, but fair is fair." Some people don't know how to be kind. You'll know soon enough, won't you?
Whoa.
And people who do terrible things deserve terrible things. You've brought this upon yourself, my dear.
So apparently
Following an
it's
activation of
about them doing bad stuff.
SCP-517, starting at 1:43 a.m. local time, the same events will always occur.
Okay.
The individual that was targeted by the machine will find themselves attacked by a number of entities which have been designated as SCP-517-01.
All right.
These entities are long, multi-jointed arms that emanate from a location nearby the individual. The exact number that appears will vary, but there usually seems to be between 10 and 36. The
Wow.
arms will appear from a single location that's often a low, cramped, and dark space like a closet, basement, or under a bed.
Right.
The arms will reach out from this area and try to grab the individual before dragging them back to the location where they manifested.
Drag me to hell.
They appear to be able to stretch indefinitely, growing as long as they need in order to continue pursuing the individual.
Wow.
And their many joints allow them to bend around corners or any other obstacles.
That's nasty.
Should the individual manage to fight the arms off or escape, new arms will materialize nearby the victim to aid in the capture.
Oh, I see.
Once the arms have subdued the targeted person and gotten them back to the area where they appeared, they will begin savagely assaulting them, beating and
Oh
clawing
my
at them until
gosh.
nothing remains of the victim but a bloody pile of flesh and bones. To date,
Wow.
the Foundation is not aware of any targeted individuals surviving an attack by SCP-517-01 entities. In the event that the fortune-telling machine was
Dang.
activated multiple times on the same day, multiple instances of arms appearing will occur at different locations at the same time, with
time.
each group hunting their own individual target.
Weird.
Efforts have been made to figure out exactly where the arms manifest from, and during testing, cameras were set up around the targeted individual in order to try and locate a place of origin. Unfortunately, the arms somehow seemed aware that they were being watched, and the arms always emanated from around a corner or other place that was out of the field of view of the cameras. Tests on SCP-517 did reveal one piece of evidence, though, as fragments of DNA were recovered from the areas where SCP-517-01 instances appeared.
Okay.
DNA that turned out to be human in origin.
Okay.
The origins of the DNA and the identity of the owner have yet to be determined.
Interesting.
Research and containment of SCP-517 has proven to be quite difficult, as evidenced by an event designated Incident 517-1997-M. As Foundation Agent Dr. Mail supervised the transport of SCP-517 to a new containment storage locker, the fortune teller suddenly activated, and it was suspected that Dr. Mail had become a target. Security personnel were alerted, and a defensive strategy was devised to protect her from instances of SCP-517-01 that were expected to manifest that night at 1:43 a.m. Dr. Mail was taken to a helicopter on the roof of a Foundation cafeteria and given the protection of multiple security personnel as they waited for the arms to manifest. Right on cue, the arms appeared in a storage area inside the cafeteria.
So he didn't even read the fortune.
Began stretching their way towards the roof. Security teams inside the cafeteria opened fire on the arms, which took damage just like normal human arms, but they would quickly be replaced by more. More instances of SCP-517-01 began appearing, coming out from under parked vehicles and other storage areas, as the number of arms coming out of the original manifestation site continued to increase, until there were over 100. The arms did not seem to want to fight back against the security teams, though. They seemed singular in their focus, to get to the roof where Dr. Mail was waiting. As the ever-increasing amount of limbs overwhelmed the security teams and breached the roof, the order was given for the helicopter to take off. The helicopter rose into the air, but the arms began manifesting from somewhere underneath the helicopter itself.
What the heck?
The arms broke through the windows and pulled Dr. Mail out, passing her down to the waiting arms on the roof that then carried her through the cafeteria's ventilation system.
Oh my God.
The security personnel in the cafeteria attempted to sever the limbs with a knife and rescue Dr. Mail. The arms are no longer ignoring their attackers and grabbed him as well, dragging him down towards the storage locker along with the doctor.
And disarmed
In the end, 4 members of the security team along with Dr. Mail were pulled into the storage area by the arms. Their remains were collected the next morning, and the Foundation made their best efforts to separate and identify what was left for individual funerary services. SCP-517, which has been classified as safe, is kept in a dedicated containment cell at all times, facing away from the doorway, with an opaque black sheet bound around
Thankfully, it's easy to
Following
contain.
the events of Incident 517-1997-M, all testing has been halted, without the express written permission of the site director.
Denied.
Peering into our future can be a fun activity, even when we know it's all just a bit of make-believe. When you pull your fortune from a booth containing an elderly automaton, though, you might just find that this time, Grammy knows your fate for real.
Not gonna do it. Hey, listen, I don't have no regrets, okay? Nothing. I might have a few. Seriously, though, it didn't even seem like the first story that she had did a bad thing, but I don't guess it matters because the SCP just targets you no matter what. That's a brutal way to die, too, getting beat to a pulp. God dang, man. This is an interesting SCP though, guys. Dr. Bob, make sure you subscribe to him. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos too. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Soulja signing off. We'll see you next time.